Hi, Maria. I am so thankful to spend this time with you. And I'm just going to ask you a few questions of how it's been like to work with me. And then, whatever you choose to answer, however you choose to answer, is totally fine. So I know, and how, so first question is what brought you to working with me in the first place?
I have struggled with self-esteem issues all my life, and I don't have a lot of self-compassion. I struggle with that a lot. It's actually the opposite. I tend to criticize myself, and I'm very hard on myself. And although um, tried, I've been to therapy in the past, and um, I've tried to eradicate it as much as I can. I, I feel like I was on a hamster wheel, and the more aware of it that I am, and that when it was happening, the worse it was, because it was like I knew I was doing it, and I know I'm hard on myself, and then I'd be like, God, you're so hard on yourself, and oh, but so I was blaming myself that I was hard on myself. It's just this vicious cycle that just kept going around and around and around, and it felt like torture, because I couldn't break the cycle, but I knew what I was doing, but I couldn't break the cycle.
Yeah, I totally hear you. I'm also smiling now because of what you're saying. It's more like, wow, like it's such a common thing for so many people, including me. It just feels like then that hard, that going around in circle piece, right? You're
Right.
hard on yourself. If something happens, you criticize yourself, then you're criticizing yourself for criticizing yourself.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I totally hear you. So I'm curious, like, what made you move forward to working with me?
Um, well, um, in all honesty, I've worked with you in the past, but it's been a long, long time. And I have been in and out of therapy even after that. And I just felt the best work I have ever done was with you when you were doing traditional therapy. And so um, I think with not just with COVID, but with my relationship and where it was going, and how my husband was working on himself, I thought I need to get back to working on myself. And I just didn't want to live like this anymore.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to live. And to my surprise, um, working with you again, you've implemented so many helpful tools that we didn't work with in the past. And
Yeah.
what I learned was so invaluable this time around, so invaluable.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Like I remember working with you back, I think it was like 2000 or something, like
Yeah, it was,
really long time ago.
yeah, really long
Yeah.
time
Yeah, and I have also like I'm glad you're mentioning that. Like wow, like you've brought in so many new tools. I think I've grown as a person and my skill sets have also grown. So I'm glad you found value in that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like what's so amazing is that the approach that you took back then, um, you still, I believe, incorporate, but it's so much more wider and vast now with the other things that you incorporate, with neuropsychology and emotional, just it's completely different, and it was like the lights were going off all the time now. Whereas before, the process was much slower, and I it's almost as though there's a lot of stuff that's cut out in the middle, and it's so much quicker to get to where you want to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that doesn't make sense, but
Totally makes sense. I think that's one of the reasons I quit traditional therapy because I feel like this is much more faster and powerful given where we are. And I'm glad you brought up COVID too. Like it's been such a hard time for so many people. So yeah, that was the one thing that I remembered from working with you back then too. There was this drive that you wanted to always work on yourself and like get to this place of feeling more freedom. And
right.
yeah,
and the drive was obviously is still there, but again, the tools. I mean, you used to talk about. I remember you used to tell me to be an observer, but now it's just like blows my mind what you've taught me recently. Like not just being an observer, but observe and feel and acknowledge and all the things I've learned about my triggers and from my beliefs from when I was young and how they affect you know how you perceive things and your interpretation. It's been really amazing and invaluable for me and in all my relationships. Not and I wasn't doing it just primarily for my relationship with my husband. I really wanted this for me, for all relationships, for everyone that I come in contact with.
Yeah, that's amazing. That I think that brings me to the next question, which is what were some of your biggest takeaways? You already touched on some of that, but what were some of your biggest takeaways?
I am the thinker of my thoughts,
Mm,
that they're just thoughts and I create them. And because of that, I have the power to change them. I have the power to acknowledge that I am thinking this and I can shift it and I can change it. Um, yeah, as you know, I'm a self-proclaimed glass half half empty person, and I have issues with anxiety and ruminating, and it's really um, has made me such. I've really become such a calmer person, and have been able to stop, breathe, just the tip of when you're feeling something to stop and take a breath and acknowledge and observe and then be able to shift has been it's been amazing. It's been an amazing tool for me.
and that's amazing also because you learn to implement it as well. Like it's not just me providing that, it's also says so much about you, like, taking that and putting it to use, personalizing it for your own life.
And
Yeah.
it's work, and it's but it doesn't. When somebody says you're going to have to work at it, it is work, but it's such enriching and empowering work. I mean, it really is. It really, even though it says it's work, yes, it feels like work because you're constantly trudging along, but you feel so empowered because you have those tools. So you know that the road ahead um, will be much easier than your past road. Just having all the knowledge of all the tools that you gave me.
Yeah, that's so what you're saying. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or what circumstances we face. The tools that we have is all we can use. So thank you for sharing that.
But like what you just said, I mean, you are okay. I also learned where you are right now is you are okay where you are right now. That's an amazing awareness to have. Like you're okay just as you are right now in this moment. That calms a lot of anxieties and a lot of fears and a lot of ruminating about the future, especially right now in the time of COVID. I mean, it's been extremely helpful.
Yeah, yeah, I know. That's so powerful. I use that for myself too. I'm okay just where I am. I don't need to keep changing, like, because people like us want to keep working on ourselves, and sometimes it's okay to be like, I'm okay. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm curious also, how has this changed your life?
Wow. Well, definitely one of the relationships that's one of the most important relationships with me is my son, who's 11, and having an 11-year-old son is challenging, um, especially right now. But it's so important because you don't want to repeat the same mistakes. Nobody wants to repeat the same mistakes that they felt that they've experienced in their past with their child. In the past, in their childhood, what they've seen or their family of origin and how they were raised. You definitely want to always try to do better. And it's definitely helped. I mean, just pausing, thinking, breathing, um, acknowledging my feelings. Where is this coming from? Why am I angry with him right now? Um, and now knowing like sometimes it's not him, it's me and my triggers, and it's it's been very helpful, and obviously with my husband as well. the way we communicate now, as opposed to um, the, I'm right, you're right, no, I'm right, no, you're wrong. Just, the always wanting to be right and realizing, maybe some of the issue is me. This is my trigger, and it calms. It really de-escalates whatever friction is going on, to be able to sit and think and take a breath and realize what's going on right now, what's going on inside of me. It's not the other person. Sometimes it's you. You have to kind of think about that. Take some quick inventory. What's going on with me right now? Why am I feeling like this? What's triggering me?
So empowering, right? When you can come back to you versus feeling like someone else is doing something. I,
Yes.
it's such,
Yeah.
you said it so beautifully.
Yeah. And that's really, for me, that's because um, I, um, I was raised by parents who were very critical. And so I, I mean, it's really, really changed the way in which we communicate, because I'm not always on the defense anymore. Now I'm realizing it's not, you know, he's not criticizing. This is my interpretation, and it's just an interpretation. And that's something else I learned, that it's an interpretation, and I'm responsible for that interpretation. So
Oh, beautiful. My God, like I'm like, I feel like a very proud parent or a teacher.
well, you should. I mean, you should. But yeah, I mean, it's really, it's changed so much, and especially you really get to see it now, right? Because
Yeah.
in my situation, everybody's home all the time, so you really get to you get to really put it to use and put it to practice. You really get a lot of chances to do that right now. So
Yeah, the training wheels are off even before you can ride your bicycle, like, and just
right,
go.
right,
I
yeah.
have a last question for you. What would you say to someone if they're on the fence?
um well, i I was on the fence, and I went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I would say, make that commitment and do it. Um, even if it was a situation of finances, which part of that was for me, to be honest. If you stack up traditional therapy, um, you know I know it's could be, the cost just for per session, I mean, is crazy. And going and going and going, which I have done, it takes forever. Sometimes I feel like it takes forever. And that was the most surprising, one of the most surprising things, obviously, is realizing what a, if you do the work and you commit yourself, what can change and how it can change so quickly. That was very surprising to me, because again, I was somebody who had been in and out of traditional therapy and tried. And then like you said, I really tried to put in the work, but this was different. This was different. This incorporated all the things you love about, or that you know, all the things that you feel therapy can do for you, but yet with neuroscience and learning about your neural pathways and how you can change. It was just it just incorporated so many more things, and then produced such a positive result in the way in an amount of time that I was really surprised by.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
say do it. I say do it. Definitely do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the biggest difference even I have seen over doing this work for so many years, that there's something about this work that changes people from inside out rather than just trying to manage the
Right.
outside. And this is like, if I can shift from the inside, then everything else shifts on the outside.
Right. And
But
it's the coaching element, which you don't get that in traditional therapy. I mean, you kind of do. You could probably explain that better than me, but it's just not the same.
yeah.
It's definitely seems more hands-on, um, detailed instructions of what you can do, how
Mm.
you can do it, how you can change your life, how you can make that shift. It's that coaching element. that you don't usually get in traditional therapy.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Maria. I'm so grateful for you to take this time to share your experience.
I'm grateful for you. Thank you.
Thank you.